Hello, sober army. How are you? This is Craig Beck, the stop drinking expert and author of Alcohol Lied to Me, a book that has helped hundreds of thousands of people to quit drinking. If you want a free copy, go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com. All right, in today's Happy Sober podcast, I want to talk about a couple of things. I want to talk about religion, spirituality, faith. Never talk about religion or politics, Craig, I hear you saying. Look, I just want to give you an observation. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. We seem to be living in this weird dystopian world at the moment where having a different opinion means that you're the devil. You know what's happened with Charlie Kirk and all that sort of stuff. I don't. It seems like the politicians are gaslighting the entire world into thinking that the enemy is people with opposing views, whereas the enemy is probably the government and the bankers and the mainstream media who are spinning this narrative. But it seems like everyone's unhappy at the moment, and having a different opinion gets you labeled as Hitler. So apologies if you don't agree with me. But I'll tell you what I think in a few moments' time. Just a little reminder while we're on the anti-establishment theme there, I have a new book out. It's called Satoshi's Rebellion. Give it a read. It's free at the moment on Kindle. Just download it, give it a read, and give me a review if you wouldn't mind. That would be fantastic. Thank you to Lana for sharing this little news story with me from Carnival Cruise Lines. You been on a cruise? I personally, I can't think of anything worse, apart from camping. Camping in a tent in a field would possibly be worse, but being trapped on a floating box with thousands of strangers, having to queue up for mid-standard tepid food sounds horrible to me. In an environment where most people have bought a drinks package, which encourages them to drink as much poison as possible, under the perception of value for money. It just sounds like hell on earth. Well, this story here that Lana sent me, Carnival Cruise Line is dipping its toes into a weird and very strange group of people, into the sober curious, with the introduction of a non-alcoholic beverage package featuring alcohol-free cocktails, wine and beer, alongside soft drinks, smoothies, and coffee creations on ship. All right. Like the language, look at the language here. Sober curious. As though not drinking poison is some weird, lifestyle choice on the edge of society. Like you live in the woods in a mud hut or something. Like you're not part of society. You're just this weird, freakish outcast. I'm curious about those strange people who don't drink poison. Do they speak English? Do they wear clothes? Have they ever seen a television? Shut up. Sober curious. This kind of recurring narrative that the people who don't drink the poison are the weird ones is enough with this. It's it's so transparent. So yeah, okay, great. I kind of don't believe it though, Lana. I don't believe that they've never had an alcohol-free package on board before. This feels like it's just marketing, to be honest with you. It just says, the cruise company says the move is due to demand from traveling teetotalers, those freaky, weird people. I don't believe this. I think they're just rebadging probably what they used to call their children's drinks package. And they're rebadging it for a bit of free marketing. But just look at the wording here, sober curious, coffee creations. What you mean coffee? If your friend said to you, I've made you a coffee creation, you wouldn't accept that, would you? You'd go, what, you mean you've made me a coffee? Yeah, well, take the nonsense words off. I'll have the coffee. Thanks very much. I mean, what next? What do you want for breakfast? I'll have some cornflake creations. You mean some cornflakes? Yeah, please. So thanks, Lana. But I'm not buying it. Yeah, great. And I'm still not going on a cruise. So, religion. Here's an observation, all right? And it doesn't matter whether you're religious or spiritual or whatever. Alcohol, in my opinion and in my experience of talking to people of faith and of spiritual beliefs is that alcohol is a disruptor to that part of your life. If you are a member of a church or your faith is important to you and you drink alcohol, you are placing an obstacle in your spiritual path. And I can tell you that the more you drink, the more disconnected you become. And the more disconnected from that part of your life you become, the more lost you feel, the more anxious you feel, and therefore the more you drink. Because what do drinkers do when they feel anxious? They drink. Because it is their panacea, isn't it? Alcohol is our panacea. It fixes everything. Celebrate? Alcohol. Commiserate? Alcohol. Anxious? Alcohol. Tired? Alcohol. It's the answer to everything to a drinker, isn't it? This is why, drinks companies don't mind putting warning labels on bottles. They don't mind putting, those cigarette packet style aggressive pictures out there because it doesn't have the desired effect. It just makes drinkers anxious. And what do drinkers do when they feel anxious? They drink more. So, that sort of stuff doesn't work. But I'd be interested to hear your views here on the spiritual disruption of alcohol. Because if I'm right, your faith has become less and less significant in your life the more that your drinking has increased. And I'm genuinely interested to know your opinion on that, because that's what I'm seeing. It's what I'm seeing and hearing from people who say that their church is important to them, but they've become detached from it because of alcohol. Is that true? Let me know in the comments down below. And it makes sense if you think about it, because even atheists at the moment, even scientific people who don't specifically believe in God or in something beyond the human form, the human existence, are saying that we need more church, we need more religion, because the world is going to hell in a handbasket, as they say. There is so much hatred, violence, and aggression, especially on social media at the moment, that even atheists are saying we need more of the church because it is a stabilizing factor. And I agree. My belief in this sort of thing has waxed and waned over the years. I'm not a member of any specific church. I don't really believe that strongly in traditional religions, but I believe in something bigger. Let's put it like that. And I know from my own experience that when I was furthest away from that point of view and at the peak of my drinking, my anxiety levels were through the roof. I felt depressed. I felt panicky. I felt disconnected. I felt lost. And so I think, there are so many elements to alcohol that we talk about often, the financial costs, the health costs, the relationship costs. But one thing that we don't talk about very much is the spirituality. And I'm really interested to hear what you think about this. This is not a video where I just preach a message or I give you my, well-rounded and well thought out and completed thinking. It's still open. And what I need is your input on it. I want to know what you think. Now, it may be I'm completely wrong from your point of view. Maybe you think it makes no difference. Doesn't matter how much I drink, my faith is still strong. Then I want to hear that. I want to hear opposing views as well. So that's all I'm asking for today is your comments. Tell me what you think about this, and let's start the conversation. So thanks so much for being with me, and I will see you next week.